Hey everybody, and welcome to Open Rampage Week 8. We're here with Not Good Enough versus the Best Friends Alliance, and we're right into picks and bans. Not Good Enough, take away Urgot from Feathers and Fur. Champ he's very good at, plays a lot. Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not very surprised to see that. I mean, I've seen him just tear some people apart on that champion, be an absolute monster on it. I think it's a good ban, get rid of the comfort. Samira and Leona being banned, or both teams respectively, I'm a little less keen on. I personally stand that I think Samira is a pretty bad champion. At least for blind picking, there are some cases where you can pick her safely, but I think that you could save that ban for phase 2 if you're worried about it. But getting it off the table, no big deal.
I'm also on the Samira hate train, but honestly, I track win rates for champions fairly often, and Samira's is actually, it's been good for a very long time, so maybe people know something I don't, or, she is one of those champs that if she gets fed, she will run over a game, similar to a Katarina or something like that, but in the bot lane. So it's fair to ban it away.
Games, there goes Hecarim.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. That champion, no one likes playing against it. He just runs at you at Mach 7. Doesn't matter how many mobility moves you do, he gets behind you and kills you. So taking him off the table on the red side is a wise choice in my eyes.
He is definitely very strong in this batch. Yeah, Thresh first pick. Opens up a lot of ADC picks. I like it, and I don't think he really has any hard counters in my opinion. Some people would say Morgana, but I don't even think that's that bad.
And he can fit into a lot of team comps, is why I like him. But Best Friends Alliance goes, okay, we're just going to play Senna Kench. And you know what? That works.
Kench is, he's good against Thresh too, because if someone gets hooked, you can just eat him out of it, and it's a free cleanse, as Tahm Kench W often is. And of course, Kench is just too tanky for Thresh catching him to matter. Vel'Koz, though, very good pick into the Tahm Kench. But it is blind.
Yeah, blind picking Vel'Koz is a little risky here. I wonder if maybe they're flexing it between AD carry and mid. I think that it would sort of... That way, if they pick a very bad matchup from, they can just send him bot, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well Vel'Koz slots into the carry role. You could do it. I don't think it's very good. I know it's pretty likely that it's just straight up going mid, and he's pretty confident in just picking it.
Feathers and Fur again, blind picking the Alawi, just saying, "Yep, I'm gonna rip some people to shreds with this." Last time I watched him blind pick Alawi, it worked extremely well. We'll have to see if he has the same success here. One thing I want to know is the Jarvan pick. I'm not the biggest Jarvan fan. I think that champion has a very small window where he has to do a lot. Otherwise, you can end up sort of getting behind. But I think it's also partially picked because Drangus plays a lot of it.
Yeah, it's comfort. I think both junglers play it, so it's kind of a pick away as well. And the thing is with Jarvan is he's basically comes down to how good his ultimate button is, at least later in the game. Of course, he's a very strong skirmisher early on, but later on it's all about that Cataclysm. And I really don't think it's that useful against Tahm Kench Senna, to be honest. Senna, of course, immobile, you can catch her with it, but Tahm Kench can just eat you out of that cage, or while you're inside that cage, he can just have you in his belly being safe, right? Looks like we got a missed ban, but we'll get that here in a second. It is Udyr.
Banning the other fast jungler, but Dr. Drangus says, you forgot this fast jungler, I'm going to play Skarner in front of you.
Yeah, Skarner is very good. Great with that Archie. Vel'Koz really doesn't want to pick up a Quicksilver Sash, and Tryndamere, I love this. Bap plays a lot of this. I was looking at his OPGG. He does play this champ a lot in solo queue, so it's not like it's just a random Alawi counter pick. But it does also happen to be an Alawi counter pick. That matchup is so hard for her if she doesn't hard punish Tryndamere early game, and Alawi's early game really isn't that good.
And the Jinx to sort of round it all out. I like the Jinx pick. It's, she's comfortable just to kind of lane safely, farm up, scale, and then be a team fight menace. The only thing that worries me about it is she is going to have to be careful with her traps, because Skarner is going to be able to run at her, but Thresh should be able to kill her off, and then the Corki to round it out from Best Friends Alliance.
Yeah, you're hoping to see Jinx pick up a QSS fairly early here, probably after her first 2 items, if I had to guess. But she also has that Thresh Lantern to keep her safe, so I really like the Jinx pick here. I think it's also very good against Alawi. Gives you that range to abuse her, because that's basically Alawi's weakness. Is if she's not against melee champs or short range champions, she will get kited out and her ult won't be very useful.
This team comp in particular from Not Good Enough is actually really rough for Alawi, because not only is it they have these two sort of long range carries, but they also have Thresh, who's great at stopping people from getting into a Royal Rumble that's on top of him. If he starts W, he can flare out of it. It's just really rough for Alawi to kind of get anything going there.
Yeah, and the Lantern too. I mean, you have to think, oh, if Jarvan EQs into Alawi, he's committed, but really he's not. As long as Ephemeral Voids is sitting behind him with that Lantern, you can go in and blow Alawi's cooldowns and then go right out without the Lantern. And if she doesn't have R, then after that she's going to be pretty useless most of the time.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how Feathers and Fur plays around that. I think that is a little rough. I will say I didn't comment much on it at the time of it being picked, but I do like the Corki pick a lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty neutral pick into the Vel'Koz, but it does scale well, and it is going to be able to shred down that Jarvan for sure. You are missing the consistent damage from a normal ADC. Senna doesn't do quite as much as a lot of others would, so I like the Corki pick here, especially when you already have so much frontline.
You got a lot of frontline. You have a lot of peel in the form of Kench, and Corki already with his W can be pretty safe to play. So it sort of is a champion that'll farm up, deal consistent damage later, and even with the package be an engaged threat.
Yeah, absolutely. You combine that with the Skarner, and they're both going to be running at you, and the package can just create absolute chaos. You could even use it in interesting ways to just pull someone away with Skarner and then cut off the rest of them from helping and just create a free pick with it in that way. So we'll have to see how Billy Willard and Dr. Drengus pull that off, if at all, or if they're just going to use the package as more of a threatening tool around those objectives. It's very powerful either way.
All right, gotta ask my favorite question. On both teams, who do you think the player to watch is in this match?
Player to watch, I think on both sides, it's honestly the jungler, but possibly also for the Best Friends Alliance, Feathers and Fur, because it's really on him to see how he plays the lane out against Tryndamere. But if Henry Waternoose can get big things going early game for his team, and then they can abuse the range of that Vel'Koz and Jinx or the split push power of the Tryndamere against Alawi, who he will outscale as long as he does well early mid game. So if Henry Waternoose can help him out with that, it's going to be super big for Not Good Enough. And then on the flip side, Dr. Drengus has to neutralize those plays. If he can get to 6, if he can make a couple counter ganks happen, maybe some counter jungling, and the Jarvan doesn't get so much done, the Skarner is going to be way, way more useful when it comes to the mid-game fights. So we'll have to see how that jungle matchup plays out. Those are my players to watch. Do you have a differing opinion?
I do. I think that on Not Good Enough, the player to watch is 100% Ephemeral Voids. I think the Thresh in this game just has so much that he can do. Whether it's playing Corki out of his non-package W, stopping Skarner from getting good engages, just disrupting Alawi's entire fight presence, and of course that's without even talking about landing any clutch hooks onto Senna, which would blow Kench W, for instance. And I think that that's going to carry out throughout the entire game, not just early game, mid game, late game. He's going to be able to be a huge playmaker this throughout the entire game. I do agree that on Best Friends Alliance that Feathers and Fur is the sort of player to watch in this sense. I think that since the game is so difficult for him, it'll be really important to see how he does in the lane, because if he falls behind in that lane, it's just doomed. Because it is so hard to play into this comp, so he has to get ahead. And so we're going to need to be able to see him playing that lane extremely well, or otherwise this Alawi pick is most likely just going to fall flat.
Yeah, if he doesn't get some sort of lead going or some sort of leverage going, it's going to be hard to win the split push against Tryndamere and hard to team fight against Vel'Koz Jinx, right? So he will be caught between a rock and a hard place. We'll have to see how that sorts out when we get into the game, but we're going to hop to a break for spectator delay real quick and catch you on the other side. into the Open Rampage Week 8 between Not Good Enough on the blue side and the Best Friends Alliance on the red side. We're getting in here for the level 1s right away. Everyone's got their items. Everyone's running out. Looks like pretty standard 5-point stuff, though.
Yeah. I would be pretty surprised if we saw any level 1 shenanigans in this game, particularly from the Not Good Enough side. I mean, they have a team that is most likely going to be looking to just kind of relax. Get some... Ooh,
Yeah.
but wait a minute. I think that was a Mana Flow band proc.
It looks like it.
Let's see, does he have it? He does. Already an early Mana Flow band.
Huge lead.
Not a big difference maker in a lane that's most likely just going to be a farm fest, but always feels good. Always going for more.
I will say, honestly, it's a bit strange to me that he started Q. I feel like in this lane, Vel'Koz can just start W and get really, really good priority over the Corki there. That is one of the hidden strengths of Vel'Koz, is his crazy wave control with that W getting 2 stacks.
Yeah.
Ooh, 50 mana.
Another Mana Flow band proc. This man is a menace, and we haven't even had the minions make it to lane yet.
Yeah, that was a good angle on the Q there.
Yeah.
Billy Willard didn't see that one coming.
I see both junglers starting their blue buff. I'm interested to see where Henry goes off of this, because I would imagine that if he's starting his top side, he's probably going to be trying to do some shenanigans, maybe just split the map in half and have top side priority, but we'll have to see what he does.
Bap is not having any of those tentacles. He's just getting rid of them, I guess. That is 5 gold apiece. But yeah, the junglers are starting on opposite sides here. So far, they're both looking at a full clear path, but Jarvan is pretty likely to deviate from that. I doubt he'll go for the Raptors.
Yeah, it looks like he is just going for his wolves, though. I was expecting him to maybe go for something. Oh, we see a little bit of a skirmish. Oh.
Yep, got the crit.
Lottery win.
Well, I think it was 3 auto attacks, so that was about average.
Trendamir getting that, what is it, 35% at level 1?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh god,
There's
another
one.
crit.
A couple big hits on him. You have to remember, he has Ignite too, so honestly, 2 auto attacks, if one of them crits, I think should be a kill on Alawi.
Really going for a ward close to the top side of crap, and we do see that Jarvan opted to skip his wolves, actually. He's just walking past him. Oh.
Yeah, Skarner actually skipped his Raptors too. Looks like a gank coming in mid. Henry Waternoose is actually walking all the way around, but this is a Corki. He's pretty hard to gank.
This is a good path, but you're not going to get anything.
Yeah, he just Valkyries right out of the EQ.
Vel'Koz doesn't have enough gank setup from that situation, from that position, so you're really not going to be getting anything worthwhile whatsoever there.
Yeah, but I mean, there really wasn't that much of an angle on bottom, though. It was better than mid for sure. But looks like he's just going to contest this top grab here. I will say Dr. Drengus took a small little change in his path. He actually went from wolves to red rather than wolves to raptors. I'm not sure exactly why that was, but it's really not a big deal either way.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. But it does look like it's going to leave him in an interesting situation where he gives top crab, and Henry's going to beat him to bottom crab. You can see he's just kind of head towards it.
Yeah, Henry's bot lane does have priority too. We'll have to see if they're moving up here. It looks like they are.
Drengus gets the Skarner zone though. Yeah, but he is going to be
that is good, but they're just going to have to give it. That's a double crab for Henry Waternoose, and Skarner never cleared his Krugs either, so honestly, as far as Jarvan skipping camps, it's really not that bad since Skarner didn't get those Krugs on rotation, so Henry Waternoose in a pretty good spot here.
Seeing the Jarvan even in CS here is a little deceiving, because those crabs are worth so much compared to the regular camps. And Jarvan's clear speed is so much worse than Skarner's, so him being an even is actually him being ahead, more or less.
Yeah, I would say so, but you know, you do have to say Henry Waternoose has gotten the double crab. No successful ganks, but that is still an early game play that he has made. Good for him. We'll have to see if he can convert that into any kills or at least blown flashes or something of the sort for his team.
I want to see him applying some top lane here, because as I mentioned in the pregame, I think that if this Alawi gets behind, it's going to be so hard for her to play the game, and I would just love to see him maybe force Alawi out of lane, force her TP, and then when Bap hits level 6, you can just dive with the Trendamir ult especially if he has a level advantage, because if Alawi's not level 6, it makes it more or less safe to do.
Ouch.
Back just saying, yeah, I'll tank it, whatever.
Yeah,
You're out
Feathers
of
and
mana.
Fur is out of mana, so...
And he just walks up and crit.
Oh yeah, that's the way. Tryndamere will be hitting 6 on this next wave, I think. So honestly, Feathers and Fur has to recall, or clear this wave and recall.
Yeah, I would imagine that's what he's going to do. He seems to be aware of it. He's played enough of his champion to know, hey, I have no mana here. Tryndamere is going to murder me.
Yeah, that is a problem with Alawi. That's why you see so many of them start Corrupting Potion, is she will run out of mana.
Ooh,
she buys up the Executioner's Calling. Tryndamere not a healing intensive champion, but of course his Q is a good chunky heal. And I believe the Executioners last for 3 seconds, so if he does try to dive you, usually what Tryndameres do is on the way out of the tower dive, they'll Q the last tower shot and survive usually. But if he has healing reduction on him, there's no way that Q is going to save him from a tower shot, not even with Triumph on top.
Yeah, especially considering that Triumph will also be hurt from the healing reduction. But we see, I mean, going with them both being level 6, we see Feathers and Fur is actually up 6 minions.
Yep.
In a matchup that is not really Alawi favored or anything. But look at this, we see Henry going for the dragon here. This is a little scary, but he should be.
He knows the enemy bot lane is on a recall, and he also didn't capture the Skarner Spire, which I really like. There's no way for them to really know you're on this unless it's warded. So, smart by him, and of course there is a control ward there too. So this is pretty much entirely safe dragon take, and they get the dragons rolling at 6 minutes. That is something good for Jarvan. Of course, like we said, he has the stronger early game, so if he can get those dragons going, that's very good.
Ooh,
we see Bap just goes right into Alawi ult, but he has Ignite, and he's just slapping her down, flashes and gets first blood. Nice and easy, but Thresh gets eaten up and thrown under turret a little bit, but he runs away with a little bit of health. EQ comes in mid lane, nothing gonna come of that. Billy Willard just presses W.
Not too surprising there. I'd be pretty surprised if I saw Jarvan land a successful gank in the mid lane this game.
Yeah.
A successful meaning resulting in a kill. I don't see any world in which Billy Willard actually dies to Jarvan unless he's playing super disrespectfully. Because it's just, he has a free getaway button. You should never really die to the Jarvan combo.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to that fight top, if you want to know how bad of a matchup that is for Alawi, that's how bad. Tryndamere was down a level. He played the fight as poorly as possible. Alawi landed E, and then he E's on top of her, and he still wins the fight.
Yeah, and not only does he win the fight, it wasn't really close. Turns out having those seconds of invulnerability make it a little difficult for Alawi to, well, finish you off.
Yeah, when Alawi is such a burst-oriented champion, right? She does all of her damage when she Ws, when she gets those tentacle slams, and if Tryndamere just can't take damage for 5 seconds, it's really hard to use that R effectively.
Let's see here. So Feathers and Fur clearing this. This lane has gotten so scary from all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Bap has not even shopped yet. He's sitting on 1,400 gold right now. I just checked. That's enough for a pair of Zerker's Greaves and a dagger, which is just crazy good. Yeah, he's just going in, just slapping her up. Feathers and Fur, no ult. He's getting the crits over and over again, and the E comes back up. A nice and easy kill. This game's looking very bad if you're the Best Friends Alliance. This is what we said about this matchup, and if Tryndamere gets ahead, the game can become doomed very fast.
Yeah, especially when he gets ahead in a way like that, where his ult comes up and he just E's onto Feathers and Fur, and he doesn't even have to use it. And now he's sitting on 2,000 gold, and he's going to be able to get this turret plate as well. So that's another half of a kill effectively. And so you're going to have to imagine that Henry grabs Rift Herald, and they're going to just break the top lane turret open, getting 5 plates for Bap.
Yeah, when you have Noon Quiver, it's 2,100 to finish any of the given mythics. So Bap has his choice between a Gale Force or a Kraken Slayer this game. I think either would be good, so we'll have to see what he picks. Skarner is bot here. He gets the ult. He's suppressing up that Jinx. The Lantern is here, though. She flashes and grabs it, and she's out, but the Senna W lands, hook lands as well. They're chasing onto this Jinx. Exhaust goes. They've got the slow chaining. The ult comes in from the Senna, but Dream Release walks out with 200 HP and excellent peel from Ephemeral Voids. The box, the flay, all the hooks coming in. It's so strong. And here's Henry Waternoose in the top lane. He's abusing this Alawi as best he can, but he doesn't have a... He doesn't have a Tryndamere ult, so he actually dies to Alawi. And here's a gank in the mid lane. King Crimson forced the flash, but nothing else will come of it.
I want to talk about that bot lane fight again really quickly here. That is why I said in the pregame that I think Ephemeral Voids is the absolute player to watch. You saw that there were 3 people trying to get on the Jinx, and it was just so hard for them, even with the Skarner ult.
Yeah.
Even with the Senna Glacial, even with like the center route, they just couldn't
Senna
quite get
W even landed, yeah.
It's just so good. It's so hard for them to avoid that.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit mad at Bap here. He really needs to press his recall button. There he goes. 3,300 gold in his inventory. That's a mythic item and a pair of Zerker's Greaves. Oh my goodness, Bap. He's being so disrespectful right now, but it's not like Alawi can kill him.
This is... If I was Feathers and Fur, I would be tilting. This man is just sitting in the lane. You know he's rich. It's one of those things where you can see the bounty mocking you. And it doesn't matter. Look at him. He's just beating up the tentacles while you're kicking his ass. He doesn't care.
He does not care at all. He's running back here. Looks like he might actually go for a recall, even though, honestly, he could beat Feathers and Fur in a fight if he played it well now. But guess what? If he finishes a Mythic on Tier 2 boots, he doesn't have to do anything correctly. He can just press his buttons and right-clicker, and yeah, there's a Kraken Slayer and an Executioner's and a pair of boots. I like the Executioner's buy here. Between Senna and Alawi, there, of course, is a pretty good chunk of healing, so I respect that buy.
Yeah, I think the Executioner's buy is very respectful of Bap. I think he could have definitely gotten away with playing entirely disrespectful with how fed he is.
Yeah.
But I think that playing respectfully and a little safely is never something that you should scoff at, particularly. So.
Yeah, you can go greedy, but you have to remember that now Executioners builds into a very good crit item in Mortal Reminders, so honestly, it's not that bad for Tryndamere to even just go that second item to completely shut Alawi out of the game, because it looks like she's going that Gore Drinker too, so of course healing reduction even better still.
Is he gonna get that turret on this wave?
He might. Right? Feathers and Fur is running up. It's very tanky. It does have still the plates on, so...
I want to see Drangus try to do a repeat gank, but Crimson's a little bit of
Crimson
trouble
taking
here.
a lot of damage. He looks like he's lagging. Yeah, he Qs backwards and doesn't barrier either.
Yeah, I would
Billy
imagine
Willard gets a kill
play.
there. Yeah, he had to have been lagging. That was not like, you know, poor play. That was just absolutely nonsensical.
You saw just like the way he just randomly stopped. Oh, here goes
Bap. He's going in. He has the Kraken Slayer finished, and he just autos him. He's getting CC chained though. This is a very good by them. Jarvan is here. He's getting hit by the tentacles. Lives with a sliver of HP. Henry Waternoose is here doing a lot of damage. He just barely gets him. Finish him with the auto. Feathers and Fur can't kill anyone. Both players on not good enough walk away with barely no HP.
Yeah, that was really good. By Best Friends Alliance. He saw them sort of layer CC well, get Feathers and Fur all of his damage out and then get him out, but even then the Tryndamere ult just too much to fight through, and he's gonna get this last tower plate with the Rift Herald.
I'm not sure if Bap didn't have Ignite there or if he just didn't use it, but if he uses it on Feathers and Fur, he just dies regardless, which is just how strong this Tryndamere is right now. But regardless, very good CC chain by Dr. Drangus there, keeping his friend Feathers and Fur safe from that Tryndamere.
Drangus played that very well, and if Henry wasn't there with the excellent counter gank, that would have been a complete disaster. Giving the shutdown over maybe could even bring Feathers and Fur not fully back into the game, but it'd make him a champion again. Because as things currently stand, if they keep going at this rate, this Alawi is going to be more or less non-existent, especially in the team fights.
Yeah, if I'm Best Friends Alliance, I'm already thinking, how do we win this game? Because you have to figure out something that's not just playing it out normally, because if things keep going the way they are, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You have to just pray for the quirky scaling, or you have to try to create some sort of picks with the Tom Kench ult. And I will say, very strange itemization by Toasted Crayons here. You're playing Fasting Senna, so Tom Kench gets all the farm, but he still opts for the support mythic instead of a normal tank mythic. Usually you'd see someone go for Frostfire here on this sort of setup.
Yeah, I'd rather see him with the tankier build here.
Yeah.
Or if he's going to be playing, like you said, sort of looking for picks. Oh, we see actually out there.
That is a successful gank. And here
wait a
comes the
minute.
combo from Vel'Koz doing so much damage, but the Skirner ult just barely comes in time, gets dragged under turret and killed. The stun could come out onto the Jarvan, but Trindavir's here. He's in and just ignites Billy Willard. That's another kill for Bap. An excellent display of mechanical prowess.
Oh, man, I was about to say that was such a good counter gank by Drangus. He even flashed into range to rescue his beloved mid laner, but it just, at the end of the day, ends up being a 1-for-1 anyway, because Bob can do whatever he wants in the top side jungle, so he just ease in from the Wraith camp and ignites Billy Willard.
What is it that King Crimson is building there? Those are... Oh, it's an Everfrost. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. He's against 3 melee champions as Vel'Koz. I'd definitely give him a pass on that. Leandre's would be good as well.
And think about it this way. They have a team that is excellent at disengaging already.
Yeah.
You add an Everfrost in, and it just gets a little bit better. And
yeah,
every
and
little bit
Everfrost
counts.
is just so good that it's so good. So can't really fault anyone for building on almost any mage. It's just a very good item. Sweeping out the ward here. He's sitting on it for a little while, but have to remember that here on Not Good Enough, they do already have 2 dragons working towards a soul, and I mean, there's just really nothing to say, right? Bap didn't even have to use his ult there.
He almost died to the tentacles after the fact, but you even saw he even accidentally auto-attacked a minion during that. Oh, wait a minute. In the river, though.
Your Skarner gets the... Ooh, the EQ just barely cancels the stun auto-attack there, but there are 4 people here for Best Friends Alliance on this dragon. They don't want to let Not Good Enough get to that soul point. You do have to remember, Illaoi has TP, Tryndamere does not, but Illaoi doesn't have her mythic item or flash or her ult, so she's not really going to be useful even if she shows up to this fight. And if she does, then Tryndamere's going to take top inhib turret at the least.
As it is, he's just...
But he's just going for a dive anyways. He has his ult, gets the slow. He can get the spin up again soon, and yeah, nice and easy. Here comes a fight in the bottom river. A nice combo by King Crimson. Gets 1 kill, gets 2. The hook lands. That's a double kill for King Crimson and 1 for Henry Waternoose as well. And they're just going to walk back to this Cloud Drake. Senna walking up way too close, Nerf Snuggle, but Ephemeral Voyage just has to throw the death sentence, and you have to flash out of respect. A little bit greedy to walk up like that there, and that is Cloud Soul point on the table for Not Good Enough.
Yeah. Cloud Soul point and a disgusting Cataclysm from Henry Waternoose. You were mentioning it in the pregame, how later on in the game it's all about those Cataclysms. He locks up Toasted Crayons and Billy Willard in the Vel'Koz ult, just getting absolutely demolished. And while that was happening, Bop took your top inhib tower.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad if you're Not Good Enough that Best Friends Alliance pushed Bap off of that top inhib. I think taking that's a really big mistake. That's just a free source of farm for the Corki, but keeping the inhib up, that means you're going to be able to keep collecting that top lane farm, same as the enemy team, so that's good. And here they are working on the second Rift Herald of the game. I believe if they pop that mid, once they get it, it will just automatically break the mid turret.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up giving it to Bob, though, and just all pushing bottom or something.
Mm-hmm.
And just try to have him... Because Feathers and Fur cannot hold him alone.
Yeah,
if Feathers and Fur tries to hold him alone, he will die. So if you send the entire team bot and send Tryndamere top with a Rift Herald, then multiple people would have to rotate up there to stop him. But doing the same strategy by having the Rift Herald with the whole team makes it so both sides are a massive threat.
Oh my goodness. Did you just see what Bap bought? You seen his inventory?
He's got an Infinity Edge second item.
Yeah, he's just bought up an Infinity Edge, which on Tryndamere is not incorrect, because his passive gives him free crit chance.
Yeah.
So he will be getting the full effectiveness out of the Infinity Edge passive, which is just extra crit damage. So he is so strong. Gonna be 100% crit chance. Has that Kraken Slayer online. Almost 3 items. Here's Skarner in the mid lane. There's just nothing King Crimson can do. He's done for. A nice shutdown. Sadly, it goes to Dr. Drangus.
Here comes Bob.
Bap is in the mid lane.
Here he is. He's just gonna...
Jarvan's here. He gets a big 4-man Cataclysm. No one there to follow up, but there's Bop. He spins right in. Illaoi ult comes in. Jarvan's gonna go down, but Tryndamere pops his ult, and he's slapping everyone down.
Oh,
that is a triple kill to Bap, and a couple more kills over to the Jinx.
And that was
Yeah.
just they're just having fun with that fight. They just decided, yeah, we want to go in 2v5. Why not? The only assistance they got was the Jinx ult, which admittedly did do a lot of damage in that fight to
Yeah.
start. But that was a fight that was not even close.
No,
And
Bap
that
is
was
just disgustingly strong right now.
He just finished his 3rd item off of that. So
Yeah, I
it is
have to
20
wonder what
minutes
he's going to go next. I know Trindamirs love the Navori Quickblades. He's one of the only champions in the game that actually builds that item, so I guess he's probably going to go for that, but we'll have to see.
And I would like to quickly point out that there is a 6.5k gold lead, and Trindamir has 4,000 more gold than anyone on the enemy team.
Yeah.
He's got a
He also has a
blasting
blasting wand. He doesn't care. Maybe a Nasher's Tooth?
Who gave him
I mean,
that?
why not? He's
Bob
got all he
Dylan
needs.
is a menace in this game. He's just having fun. How much you bet he just builds a Zonias just for style points?
I mean, he could. It wouldn't be bad. Yeah, it doesn't build out a blasting wand. I would guess that that's towards a Nasher's Tooth.
It must be, surely. But we actually see that King Crimson ended up picking up the Leandries. Maybe he was just sitting on the Kindle Gem because he had back timing for it, just wanted some extra CDR.
Yeah, Cosmic Drive is what it's looking like here.
Most likely. Item is ridiculously good, especially if you're looking to be spamming.
It's very good. I'm not sure. I don't really love it on Vel'Koz. I think I prefer Horizon Focus, but any AP item you build. Here's Bap. He's just going in. He pops his ult for the Feathers and Furl. No big deal. Spins onto the Senna. Kills her in 2 auto attacks. I mean, who really cares? He's just taking him down. Corki is in the backline, and 1v1's King's Crimson, though. Bap is still in here, but he's taken down by the Skarner. The Thresh is here trying to peel off. Dream Release isn't here, but here's the Rocket! And it doesn't kill anyone because Ephemeral Voids actually gets the kill on Corki. Jarvan's here with the Sunfire Cape, putting out a lot of damage with that empowered auto attack, and they're just going to take the top inhib. 4v5, Trindamir going in early, it doesn't matter. Not good enough, still win the fight.
They're taking fights that are just objectively terrible for them and just winning them anyway. They're that fed. Which I will say, if they keep doing that, it could create a situation where they end up like getting to the point where it's even, they have to start picking good fights, which could be a little scary, but you have to imagine that they've got the map position. They're gonna get this Cloud Soul as soon as it comes up.
Yeah, Cloud Soul on the table, and not really that impressive for the side of not good enough, unless you're Trindamir. Yeah. Trindamir loves Cloud Soul. That thing is damn good on him and really scary. So Bap gonna be even more of an issue, and yep, look at that recurve, though. That's a Nasher's Tooth in the inventory, baby. Coming in.
He's getting ready for it. Why?
Top inhib is down. You're going to have to guess Bap's going to go bottom lane, or he's just going to group with his team and keep fighting.
I mean, it looks fun. I would imagine that's what he's going to do.
I mean, usually Trinidad just want to split push, but Bap's here for the team fights. He spins onto the Tom Kench. He's just beating him up. Skarner is here to CC him, though. Lands the Senna W. That the Vel'Koz R comes through and just zones them out of any possible fight. He just spins forward. He doesn't care. He's going top lane. Inhib's down. He'll just push that anyways.
Bob is also on a mission to exterminate every single tentacle he sees. If the minion wave is there, he runs past it and just murders the tentacle instead. He hates them. Look at it. There's another one.
Here he goes. Spins onto Feathers and Fur. The slow lands. He's just autoing him down. Goes for the Skarner because he's just closer. The ults come in, the Illaoi and the Skarner. Stopwatch comes in, but here's a Trindamir ult, blocks a ton of damage. Thresh gets out just barely. Dream Release putting out so many rockets, has the Rune Ends online, hitting everyone all at once, trying to get that reset, get excited. Finally gets it. Bap walks in and just slaps the Corki, and they're on to the Nexus Towers, looking like it very well could and should be game. That Jinx and the Trindamir do so much damage to these turrets. Vel'Koz has an ult up again. So much CDR in that build. Pushes them back CDR to their fountain.
Cloud Drakes.
Oh yeah, they're here hitting the last Nexus turret. After this goes down, you have to say the game is over. Jinx is going to shred down that Nexus along with Trindamir and Bap. 13-2-4. It was the Trindamir show this game. 24-minute win for not good enough. And if you're Best Friends Alliance, you're going to have to rethink draft, or you're going to have to find some way to beat Trindamir. Don't blind pick Illaoi. Figure out some kind of better top lane matchup. Maybe even ban the Trindamir going into the next game.
They definitely need to change something because they cannot handle game of that. That was not even remotely close. So
Yeah, that was rough.
we'll have to see what they do to change it up. But until then, we're going to be going over to a quick little break.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Game 2 of Open Rampage Best Friends Alliance versus Not Good Enough Best Friends Alliance bans away the Lux first. We're looking for a Tryndamere ban here, or perhaps saving their top laner for a later pick. We'll have to see what happens in the draft. Sticking to the Samira ban,
so
though.
far we've got the same bans from game 1. Maybe these are champions that they don't know how to hand, and there's the Tryndamere ban
There it
third.
is.
That does drop the Hecarim ban, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if they first pick that up, because
Very good first pick, I could see it,
it's
yeah.
super solid first pick, and it also takes away, but Drangus says, Jarvan's a contested pick this series, I want it.
Yeah, he does pick up the Jarvan, but yeah, like you said, that all-powerful Hecarim's on the table, and as I'm saying it, they just lock it in for Henry Waternoose. Yeah, I mean, the champ's crazy good this patch. Super tanky, does a lot of damage. He engages, he does it all. So they just pick him up along with the Vel'Koz, just sticking to comfort for King Crimson.
They're just perfectly happy to put him on the Vel'Koz. I mean, last game, he didn't really need to do much because Bop was so fed, but he was a solid performer there. And we see the Tristana pick, and I will note that Not Good Enough banned Tristana last time. No, actually, did they, or was it Best Friends Alliance? I think it might have been Best Friends Alliance. Forget what I just said.
I have to automatically ask, is this a flex pick? Can this go mid? Because Tristana will destroy Vel'Koz.
I'm hoping it's mid. I'm hoping they're just raw picking it as a mid lane pick here. Because I think that if you can play it mid against the Vel'Koz, then you want to play it mid against the Vel'Koz.
Yeah.
Last game, I noted how Jarvan is never going to be able to get a kill on the Corki, but Jarvan against Vel'Koz with a Tristana?
Oh, yeah.
That is just free real estate. You can just run in there and just murder him on cooldown.
Yeah, and Alistar can roam mid too with the Hex Flash, maybe a Phase Rush as well. It's going to be super scary for King Crimson this game. If that is a Tristana mid, we'll have to see. Maybe they will just match scaling again. They don't seem to expect that it's Tristana mid. Banning away mid laners here.
Getting rid of the Anivia pick. I'm not sure that the Anivia is that great of a ban here.
Yeah, I think Vel'Koz has a pretty good matchup into her. Seems a strange
it.
ban to me. But they're just
okay.
they just respect that Anivia, Billy Willard is good on it, so they will take it away regardless.
Let's see what the other bans are here. I have to imagine that Best Friends Alliance is going to be banning something with good disengage akin to the Thresh. Because as it stands, if they have enough, not good enough, also bans the Corki away. They seem to just say, hey, that Tristana pick, we know it's not mid. We're getting rid of mid laners.
A Sylas ban. That always signals to me Malphite. But they have already picked Alistar, so honestly, fair enough ban if you just respect that they play Sylas, because Alistar ult is arguably the best in the game that Sylas can pick, especially if he's ahead. He can just absolutely tear through a team fight with, honestly, little to no counterplay with how tanky he's going to be with that thing. So a respectful ban, and we see not good enough. Pick up Rek'Sai here.
I feel like that might have timed
out. That has to be
a
mispick. Yeah, it is Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa Thresh, a good duo. A little bit scary into Tristana Alistar, though, if that is the bot lane. So we'll have to see what Best Friends Alliance puts together for these last two picks. Ooh, Vladimir. Pretty OP this patch.
I mean, that's top lane, though. I mean, I feel like Vladimir is not the safest blind pick champion. Let's see, I want to see what they pick here to round this comp out. I'm hoping something else that can sort of match the engage and team fight well, because as things currently stand, it's pretty clear what they're looking to do. And there's somebody that can send in a team fight. Sound the horn, it's Ornn.
That is definitely more of a blind pick than Alawi, I would say. Of course, he has a lot of matchups that he struggles in, but they banned away Sylas and Mordekaiser, both of which are very good counters. So that Sylas ban turns out to be even better. It's a double ban here. Vayne top, it looks like. They just whip it out against the Ornn.
Really said, I have absolutely no respect for you, Feathers.
He only plays crit champs, is what I've discovered.
Really?
Yeah, Bap, if they build a crit mythic, he'll lock him in. That's what it seems like thus far in these drafts. He whips out the Vayne here. Obviously, yeah, it's really good against Ornn. You can just bully him the entire lane. If he ever tries to E on you, you can just condemn him out of it. It's so hard for him to play the game. And of course, you outscale him too. You'll shred him in the team fights. So Vayne, very good here. I have my eyes on Billy Willard. That Vlad can tear through this team. Kai'Sa Vel'Koz Vayne can get murdered. And like I said, Vlad is objectively overpowered this patch. His Q cooldown got buffed, makes his early mid game better, and of course he's always been a late game monster. So if he can get there easier, it is so good.
Yeah, we mentioned this last game, how Billy Willard is again on one of those later game just carry champions, and I'll say this, in the disaster that was last game, this Corki didn't look bad.
He did fine, yeah.
He clearly knows what he's doing on playing these scaling champions, and in a lane where, I mean, Vel'Koz is going to be like bullying him a little bit, but probably not enough to get a kill. And Vladimir is one of those champions that is exceptionally good at avoiding Hecarim ganks.
Oh yeah.
Because Hecarim runs at you with E, and right as he's about to reach you, you press W, and then he's just kind of sad.
Yep. And, I mean, you slow him as well. It's just really brutal for Hecarim to try to get anything off on Vladimir. Has 3 very good targets on the enemy team here for him. Honestly, both of these teams scale crazy well. Basically, every champion here scales, except for maybe Alistar and Jarvan. Hecarim as well, to an extent. but the rest of the champs here scale very, very well. So when it comes down to late game team fights, it's honestly a lot of execution unless there is one of these carries that is crazy fed.
Yeah, I will say, assuming an even game state later on, I think Best Friends Alliance's team comp is a lot easier to execute.
I would agree.
It's simple.
Vlad and Ornn is just very powerful.
Vlad, Ornn, Vlad, Jarvan as well. Trap a bunch of people in the Cataclysm, then light them up with Vlad ult. It's very simple, just a few buttons, and it can just end in an instant. Whereas on Not Good Enough side, they have a lot of these squishy champions with only Thresh really to peel from, and then only Hecarim to frontline, which means their positioning needs to be immaculate if the game state is even.
Yeah, Henry Waternoose needs to land very good engages, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Thresh is going to need to be able to get some good stall, hopefully stall out Billy Willard in those fights, stop him from taking out his back line.
Yeah.
But it's going to be pretty tough as far as you're saying. I agree that Not Good Enough has a way harder to execute comp. I mean, they picked Vayne top, which automatically says hard to execute. Pretty easy in the lane, but it's going to be harder in those team fights. So I'm automatically, if we're talking about players to watch, watching BAP.
Yeah.
Last game, he popped off. He did so much work. He did so much damage, and he took Feathers and Fur out of the game. This game, he has another counter matchup. He picked it himself. And he says, it's time. I will take you out of the game again. So we'll have to see if he can do that.
And
who are you watching?
I'm also watching Bob for Not Good Enough, but on the side of Best Friends Alliance, I think you have to be watching Billy Willard in this game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
This Vladimir, as you mentioned, has the potential to just tear the game wide open in those later team fights, especially if he's going to be getting those good flanks off later on, which is what he's probably going to be looking for. And so even if Bob gets ahead against Feathers and Fur, there's the potential that Billy Willard is just going to be able to take him out of the team fight just with a REQ, just blow him up and just take the game over himself. So we'll have to see who ends up on top, but until then, we're going to throw it to a quick little break while we wait for the spectator delay.
Rampage. We're here, game 2 of Best Friends Alliance versus Not Good Enough. Going right to what looks like 5 points again.
Yeah,
Looking
again,
at,
I'd be pretty surprised to see any level 1 shenanigans going down. I mean,
yep.
neither team really has a obvious, we're going to crush you level. Not I say that, but look at this. They're adventuring. And the adventure
Looks like just a play for Vision here.
Yeah.
Looking at starting items, I really only noticed 2 things, which is Billy Willard has a Dark Seal.
Yeah,
He doesn't respect King Crimson at all. He's going for automatically going for that scaling option, and Feathers and Fur actually has Corrupting Potion over a Doran Shield, which I'm not too sure how to feel about. You're not that mana hungry. I would honestly just go Doran Shield and take the beating up here.
well, he could even do, I don't know if Orns still do this. Could he still do the, buy the refillable pot, sit on it, and then buy a Doran's Shield in lane?
Yeah, you can start refillable and kill the first 3 melee minions and then buy a Doran Shield. It's a little bit greedy against Vayne, but you could do that as well. And let's just say also, King Crimson already 50 extra mana from the mana flow again this game. He's consistent.
He's just so good. The level 1 mana flow master.
Woo!
Look at that!
Another.
This man is a menace already.
He's gaming.
Look at the, I want to point out, Feathers and Fur knows I'm not going to do shit in this lane, level 1. So he runs and he puts a deep ward in the enemy jungle, which is really, really smart of him to do. I think that is just excellent game sense there to know, hey, I can do this for free. And not lose anything.
Whiffs. Tristana trading back, but she cannot really do that. It takes a good chunk of her HP there.
Yeah, Dream Release just kind of auto-attacking Snugglebutt and winning the trade because of it.
Yeah, has Halo Blade, so a really, really strong early trading tool there. Look at Dr. Drangus. Red buff, Raptors, walking mid.
Yep.
But under his turret, and there's actually a ward there. Thresh goes for the hook, and Nerf Snugglebutt has to flash. Not going to have that for 5 minutes now. Could see a gank coming from Henry Waternoose. Of course, Tristana will have that rocket jump, which is a lot of safety, but no flash.
Yeah, and it's also, it's kind of hard for Hecarim to gank this lane. Alistar, another champion that's great at dealing with the Hecarim ganks. He runs at you and you just go dub.
Yeah.
Goes away.
Yeah, until Hecarim is 6, it is pretty hard for him to gank.
Yeah. But I will say the Thresh has a great gank setup. If he lands a hook and Hecarim is in the wings, you can just toss him a lamp, and next thing you know, Hecarim's already throwing you backwards.
Oh yeah. See up here, Feathers and Fur taking a beating as is expected up against this Vayne. Hook lands onto the Alistar. He's going to follow it in and get the flay. He gets W'd under the turret and ignited. Tristana goes in with the leap. Nice kill. Leaps right back out. First blood, 400 gold to Nerf Snugglebutt.
Yeah. Way too disrespectful from Ephemeral Voids. You have to understand that if you get close to that turret with no minion wave there, Alistar is going to bonk you into the sky and then toss you into the turret.
Here's a fight in the top river. Henry Waternoose up a level. He hasn't even popped the ghost, and he is still beating the crap out of Dr. Drangus here. Nearly kills him, forces him to EQ away, but Dr. Drangus did get the crab, and Henry Waternoose just going to run down to bot lane to get his.
Yeah, you can see there that even though Drangus has the Conqueror, it's just Hecarim's early game fighting just significantly better than Jarvan's. Jarvan can get the drop on him and maybe do something, but the W healing plus the spamming of Qs is just a little too strong for Jarvan at this point in the game.
I also think Jarvan didn't have his abilities up. He used them on the crab.
Yeah,
so
it would have been a little closer, but
much closer. The main issue is, yeah, Hecarim has his cooldowns and he's up a level, so it's a hard losing fight for Jarvan for sure. Nerf Snugglebutt.
Just relax in this lane. There was the early kill. I don't actually expect there to be too many kills in the bot lane without any jungle assistance. Both of them have lanes that are that have a lot of kill pressure just from their existence, but both of them also, through their supports, have a lot of disengage power.
Yeah, so I would say Thresh less though, just because that rocket jump does go so far. It can be hard to get that Tristana off. But Nerf Snugglebutt has this lead, he has this kill, but he hasn't been able to spend his gold yet, so there's not all that much to leverage here. They want to shove this wave and get a reset, hopefully.
Yeah, I want to see both junglers keeping a very close eye on this bot lane, because even though there's a lot of disengage power, and I don't expect there to be very many 2v2 kills, I expect there to be a lot of summoners getting blown in this lane.
Oh yeah.
We've already seen it. Like, I mean, look at it right now. There's only 2 summoners across the entire lane that are active.
Feathers and Fur a little bit crazy for going for that E there, but just barely doesn't get the Silver Bolts procced on him.
Yeah.
And yeah, he is taking a beating up here. He has that Bramble Vest in his inventory, but he's going pretty good in CS considering the matchup only being down to 3 when those waves met, so he's not doing too bad for himself.
That is, for a lane like this where Vayne is just going to be bullying you nonstop, that is excellent.
Yep.
Especially because if they can just leave him up there doing that, they're happy.
For sure. Looks like Henry Waternoose is walking into the topside jungle of Dr. Drengus here. If he can take these camps, he's going to be ahead so much. Yeah. He's going to get the Gromp at the least. We'll have to see if he goes for the Wolves too.
Here we can see why Hecarim was banned. Oh, wait, look at the... Oh, okay. Moment's over. For a moment there, they all had 44 farm. It was very satisfying. But we can see why the Hecarim
he does go for the Wolves.
For game 1. This champion is just turbo clear machine.
Yeah, he's got the CDR boots too, gets to spam whatever he wants, and look at that, Top Crab is spawning. This is a beautiful path from Henry Waternoose, getting everything he wants, and Dr. Drengus is just depressed. He doesn't have Smite, though. Dr. Drengus does, so he just walks in and smites it away, but he's level 6, and Dr. Drengus has to EQ away. He's gonna have to flash. Flashes over the wall, very smart there. You know Hecarim can't cross the walls, and Feathers and Fur protects him on the way out.
Yeah. Blowing the flash on Drengus is a bit of a loss. It makes it a lot harder for him to land those, you know, EQ flashes. It lowers his kill pressure, but stopping Hecarim from getting ahead with it, or getting more ahead, I should say, is definitely a worthy reason to use.
Man, Hecarim's, he's still up 2 levels, though.
Yeah.
It is brutal. Up so much gold and XP. Hecarim is going to be a menace this game.
Hecarim is going to be a menace, and perhaps more importantly, Drengus is not going to be much of a champion for a while.
Yeah.
He's pretty much already...
Maybe not ever.
He's pretty much already going to be relegated to that ult bot. And that is not something you want to have to realize is happening at 8 minutes into the game.
Oh no.
Feathers
and Fur taking so much damage. Yep, that's gonna be a forced back probably, and Bap's gonna get some plates off that at the least.
Yeah, I'm mildly surprised. I thought when Bap procced that last Silver Bolts thing, he might have just ulted and gone for it, and he could have maybe killed it. It's very risky though, so not very surprised he didn't go for it. Feathers and Fur is staying.
Feathers and Fur being disrespectful by eating forward all the time. Bap got hit by the first couple, but now he's starting to learn the spacing a little bit better in this matchup and not getting hit by them. And if Vayne doesn't get hit by the Ornn E, you're going to get 3 Silver Bolts in your back and a good chunk of HP out of you, if not more.
This Drengus just going for the Mountain Dragon, and Henry Waternoose is topside, so they're going to get it.
Yeah,
but it looks like
Bap actually doing the counter jungling here. Looks like he's doing Gromp.
It looks like the Drengus' entire top side is just getting gamed.
It has been claimed.
On. Look at this. He's giving it.
He's giving the blue buff to Vayne. That seems incorrect, to be honest. But
I would take that.
They're taking the whole top side anyways, so who it goes to, not that big a deal.
Yeah, and this puts Henry Waternoose a solid 30 gold up, or 30 CS up on the Jarvan here.
Here comes Vayne behind the Ornn. He's probably going to have to flash here, and I don't even know if that will save him. Condemns a nice flash, makes him get further away. She flashes, but cancels the auto, gets knocked up under the turret. No, Feathers and Fur cancels the clap, so he doesn't get the CC chain. It would have been a 1-for-1 at the least there.
No.
They both misplay it, but Bap comes out on top.
I think if he just went for the auto there, I don't think he dies. I think he just gets
he might. And the CC might last long enough with the turret shot coming in. He also has grasp up there, so I think you're right. He might just survive and get the kill off of that canceled auto by Bap. But that's not the world we're living in, and Bap gets a kill, and Feathers and Fur does not.
Yeah, Bap is going to be extremely grateful for that auto cancel.
Yeah,
Gonna be riding that high. all the way back to the base where he picks up a Vamp Scepter, refills.
Looks like he's going a shield build this game. I like it. A lot of respect given to the Vladimir with this buy. He's saying, I don't think I need the tank killing power of the Kraken Slayer. Going in on the bot lane here, the hook lands onto Nerf Snugglebutt though. The bomb gonna get a big explosion, does a good chunk of Kai'Sa's health, but she can ult back in here. Both the players at half health. Nerf Snugglebutt jumps out.
Look at Water News.
Here he is, so fast.
Oh.
Here's the Rampage, here's the charge. Kai'Sa comes in to follow up with a two-man knockback by the Tristana, or the hook misses. Henry Watersnoose gets the auto attack onto Tristana. Kill for him and a kill for Kai'Sa. Ooh, that was so close to disaster. Here's Jarvan, does a good burst onto Hecarim, but can he finish him off? No, the shield comes in from Thresh, and here's the W from Hecarim, and he survives. Dr. Drangus, yeah, I don't know if he's ever going to be useful now. After that, it is really, really brutal to get back in the game if you're this Vladimir.
And Ephemeral Void saying on that one, playing that fight so well at the very beginning and the very end of it, and when he flash played, he said that was a zoning, guys, don't worry. And
yeah,
Henry
for sure.
is able just to run him down anyway.
Zoning, hook, and E that play.
Yeah, absolutely. But just complete disaster down in the bot lane.
Yeah. Things are definitely favoring not good enough as far as this game goes so far. Henry Waternoose is so much stronger than his counterpart. Same for Bap, but we said in the draft we're looking at Billy Willard, and he is just farming in the mid lane here. He's going even with the Vel'Koz, which is good in this matchup for sure. And he's going to be a menace in the late game team fights. Like I said, I love that Bap's going to shield, though. It's going to make that Vladimir way, way weaker as far as diving on him goes. But regardless, he's scaling up. Not good enough. Has a 2k gold lead, but that might not be all they need against this Vladimir.
Being a little aggressive here.
He's putting out a lot of damage on him. He doesn't have his ult. Here is Billy Willard, but he doesn't quite do that much damage this early in the game as Vladimir drops his ult but doesn't get the kill. And also, may I note that Henry Waternoose has a chain vest in his inventory, not a cloth armor, and that doesn't build towards the tank mythics. He just bought it because it is the best pet item. But here's a three-man play on the mid lane. Tristana leaps in, does a huge burst of damage. Billy Willard gets the kill with that Tides of Blood and a nice little transfusion.
That's the first time we've seen King Crimson be ganked the entire game. And I was mentioning in the champ select, in the pregame, that this champion against this team comp is so scary to play because Alistar can roam up, Drangus can come in and gank. That was the first time we saw him get ganked, and it instantly works.
Yeah, and so guess what? King Crimson doesn't have Flash, and when he comes back, Dr. Drangus is going to have Cataclysm, so it could just be a totally free kill. Billy Willard stacking up that Dark Seal. I know there are a lot of Vladimir players that love to just go Magi's second, because if you get that stacking and you get that early Magic 10 bonus on the Proto Belt from the finished legendary item, it's so crazy for snowballing. So we'll have to see. Maybe if he gets enough stacks on that, he will just make a book.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what he builds there. I just want to see. They need to give him more attention in this mid lane. If they can get this Vladimir ahead, that can just make it so much easier for them to play these team fights. It makes it so they don't have to concede some of these early objectives. But as things currently stand, they most likely are not going to be fighting for this next dragon. I would be a little surprised if they do. Vladimir does not have his mythic yet. And he's giving the red buff to Pop.
It's a funnel strategy, really. It is good here up against the Ornn, but Henry Waternoose is so strong in his own right, and he's actually going to be with the team, so I think it's so much better on him.
Yeah, I disagree so much with giving over debuffs. Neither one of them at this point in the game for Henry Waternoose. Hecarim loves both of them. He can spam his Qs better with the blue buff and just stick to people even better than he already does with the red buff, and he's
Guess where Henry Waternoose is, my friend. He's in his home. Dr. Drangus' top jungle.
True.
Taking all the camps once again. But there is a dragon here for Dr. Drangus to take if he so chooses. But Nerf Snugglebutt's back in base, so they can't.
That is so tragic. This is going to make him lose so much because he does not know. He has no idea. Oh man, this is rough. There goes his top side again.
Yeah, again. Same old story. Some things never change.
And hey, look, he's doing his favorite path, the enemy top side into top trap.
Yeah, a classic path for the ages to be sure. Top Crab is there as soon as he walks into River, and I mean, if you're a jungler, you are just so happy about a play like that. Just, oof, that is rough.
Yeah, I as someone I've had this happen to me before, it feels absolutely miserable to play. But
Yeah,
when you're the one doing it, it feels spectacular, and you can see why.
seems
He's
like
now up
Dr.
40
Dringus,
CS.
Dr. Dringus knows his place though. He's not even trying to go top lane. He's just clearing his Krugs, walking back bot.
That is the good thing about Jarvan. Jarvan, whether he has 100 CS or 10, he's still able to EQ and then press R.
He can
So,
always do that. And he's looking at the dragon, but Henry Waternoose is on the same side of the map as you now, and you cannot face that man.
but Henry Waternoose is sitting on 1600 gold.
Yeah, he has enough for a chem tank, I think, here, and hasn't bought it up.
So he is
Maybe
as
clearing his
strong
bot
as he
side and then
should
getting a
be.
recall for it.
It's a little greedy to save for the recall, but he probably sees that Billy Willard is not in lane at the moment, probably
Oh
thinking,
no,
okay,
Drangus.
no, Drangus is about to discover a horrible.
A terrible sight. Yep.
There he goes, he's fine. Okay, the
Walk
wolves are
past the
gone. Where's
wolves.
Bro?
Blue, oh, they're all
Alright,
gone. Oh
maybe,
no.
maybe Crab's up. He knows.
He doesn't
knows.
even look.
He
doesn't.
knows. He's like, alright, that's the pressure.
Ah, again it happened. Dr. Dringus in a sad state. Here's Waternoose. He has not backed yet, but he's just going straight for the dragon. Maybe he knows that Dr. Dringus is busy crying in his top jungle to come contest this.
I believe he did have a ward on the bush that Drangus was facing in.
He did,
so
yeah, you're right.
they just are able to say, hey, enemy jungler's depressed in his top side, let's take dragon. And we see
Now, I was deceived, actually. Bap has a Kraken Slayer. He just bought the Vamp Scepter for the laning phase, so he won't have that shield bow. A little bit less respectful towards Vladimir here, when Vladimir has, I believe, 24 flat magic pen already, with the Proto Belt and the Cirque shoes, and he's going to be getting more with every single legendary item. Here is Henry Waternoose, comes in onto Tristana, doesn't get the maximum damage, she leaps out, is ignited, but here's Kaisa, jumps in, Vladimir's here behind them, has an ult onto the Thresh, he lands the Empowered Transfusion, hook doesn't land, but Henry Waternoose just goes right out, though that is another kill for Billy Willard. That Vladimir is very scary, like we said, and if he keeps getting ahead, it's going to be a problem.
the hero of Best Friends Alliance shows up to top lane to rescue them from the dive, gets a kill, gets himself a little more gold, and gets himself a little bit closer to just becoming that turbo teamfight threat. Here we go.
Ooh, Flash comes in from King Crimson, but it's a little late, and the Jarvan EQ comes in. The stun from the Alistar. That auto attack was nearly global. That seemed like it went so far, but they get him and take out King Crimson there. And honestly, if I'm playing this game and I'm Billy Willard, 4 stacks is enough. Upgrade that thing to a Magize.
Oh yeah.
You can become an absolute monster this game.
He is just the absolute champion, the one that needs to be ahead, the one that needs to be carrying.
Yeah.
And what better way to carry than to build the ultimate ego item in the form of Magi's Soul Stealer?
Oh yeah, I mean, the Vladimir main, I think Elite 500, he builds it more often than not, to be honest, because it just synergizes so ridiculously well with Vladimir. It can get you so much HP, move speeds, an incredible stat on him. Ouch! Dreamley's putting out a ton of damage on Nerf Snugglebutt. I think that was just 3 auto attacks. That's about half his health there. Has the Kraken Slayer finished, of course, so Nerf Snugglebutt just gonna have to jump away.
Billy Willard opting to buy a couple pink boards and a Fiendish Codex rather than upgrading to Magi's.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. Getting a little more CDR before you upgrade doesn't seem like the end of the world to me. Ooh. There's a Fur doing a good chunk of damage on the top up here. But
well, that has a Vamp Scepter. Yep. Gonna be really rough for Feathers and Fur to get anything going onto BAP. He would basically have to do a little bit of his health and then go for the one-shot, but Billy Willard's coming in. There's a Hecarim behind him. He pulls the Hecarim. He's not going to come in, and he flashes onto King Crimson, gets the kill. Empowered Q coming up, gets it. He has enough healing. He's going through on this Hecarim. Can he get another Empowered Q up? Here are the Q buffs in action, ladies and gentlemen. Comes in and gets the healing. He is fine. 6 stacks on the Dark Seal. He lives, gets the kill on King Crimson, and makes it look easy.
And that was in a 2v1.
Yeah.
So we were mentioning this Vladimir being the scary champion. on the side of Best Friends Alliance, and if you're a Best Friends Alliance fan, you are cheering Billy Willard on because, oh my lord, he is on track to become that late game threat already.
Oh yeah, he is terrifying. Here he is, he stays. I love this. I thought Recall was a little bit silly because he didn't have enough gold to finish a Cosmic Drive or a Magi's, so he is staying, and of course you're Vladimir. So you have free sustain in your kit, you can just spam that Q up on the wave. We see he's already above half HP here.
Yeah, especially when you see the bot lane where they are and you know that Hecarim has no ult.
Yeah.
Because Hecarim is really not scary to you at all unless he has ult, in which case he can become a much bigger
Here's the
threat.
Ornn ult in the top lane. It lands onto Bap regardless. He ults, goes invisible. Jarvan waits so long, gets the knockup, gets condemned into the wall, gets the Cataclysm, and, I mean, you're just done. It doesn't matter if you're invisible. Here is Henry Waternews. Has no health, but he can 2v1 this pretty easily. The Onslaught of Shadows comes in and fears up Dr. Drengus, but he gets EQ'd out, and there's a fight in the bot lane here. Hook lands on the Alistar. Dr. Drengus is out, but here's Henry Waternews. Runs him over, gets the kill, and nothing results in the bot lane, but Henry Waternews gets a kill and avenges Bap's life.
All of a sudden, a lot of action just exploding all over the map. And, all things considered, it just ends in a 1-for-1. Really nothing super exciting there.
Yeah, absolutely. We are just watching these teams scale up here. Bap getting stronger, Billy Willard getting stronger, Dream Release getting stronger, King Crimson in a bad way, but he is still Vel'Koz. If you land that big ult, that big W, you're gonna do a ridiculous amount of team fight damage regardless, so we'll have to see how he plays it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing we haven't mentioned at all is that both of the 80 carries are just quietly nearing 2 items.
Yeah.
And I don't care how scary of a Hecarim you are or how scary of a Vladimir you are, if you're fighting a 80 carry that's just starting to scale up and you don't get on them, you're going to get lit up by them.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it looks like they're for the classic maximum DPS build, which is Kraken Slayer, Phantom Dancer here. So they're going to be pumping out so much damage. Alistar gets hooked up, but it's a little bit of a bait. Not going to be able to get the kill on him. Here is Henry Waternews. Both the junglers going on opposite sides. The Cataclysm comes in on Thresh, but you don't do that much damage, Dr. Drengus. He can't finish off Ephemeral Voids. Both the junglers just cross like ships in the night there and blow everything on the back line.
They're having a race to see who got into the lane. They're running in side by side. I know if I'm members of either team, I'm a little confused as I would think probably, oh, okay, 2 teammates are coming. Nope, it's one teammate, one enemy. They're just both running past each other to get to the lane as fast as possible, but the Hecarim much scarier than the Jarvan in this case, and so when
That's
they
a
eventually
dragon,
clash,
not good enough. Working towards that Ocean Soul, which will be a problem.
Yeah. Who the turret lives? How much health does that have? Has 19.
See, Billy Willard finished the Cosmic Drive, not going for the Magi's, which I agree with. Cosmic Drive's a ridiculous spike, so just go ahead and finish that. Yeah. But I'm still on the Magi's train. I really hope he buys that item up on his next purchase if he can.
Yeah, that is probably what he will end up being going for. Oh, and look at this. He's already got the upgraded arrow pack.
Oh, man.
Feathers and Fur comes mid.
He knows his carry.
Deliver him. And
Tristana jumping in onto... Ooh, nice play on the Alistar, but he gets flashed on. Can he get the jump over the wall? Here's Feathers and Fur in the mid lane. He knows his carry. Gives him the upgraded arrow pack and roams there to give him the Ornn Horn. Gets a kill for him onto King Crimson. That mid lane turret inevitably going to go down. He does TP top to hold the turret here, but
yeah,
Bap didn't have plans to keep pushing.
That.
I don't think so either.
A little questionable. Mid turret does go down. That opens up the map quite a bit, especially since bot turret is not even relevant with the amount of HP it has. It's going to die right now. Yeah. Snuggle button, a little bit of trouble here. Dream Release could have maybe gone for that with the ult. I mean, Toasted Crayons was pretty close, so it is very risky, especially when you're sitting on that 250 bounty. So I think it's definitely correct to not go for it, but...
Oh no, Dream Release went for the Collector, man. Phantom Dancer would have been so crazy this game. I really wish he went that. Collector, it's just a pretty consistently good item on Kai'Sa. Pops the Locket early. I think it may be a Fat Finger while he was going in with his combo there. But does about half of Dream Release's health on his own, I guess.
Dream
Just
Release
Alistar things.
thanking the stars that Nerf Snugglebutt does not have his W up, otherwise he was just dead.
Yeah. There are 4 people bottom lane. Even Bap's down here. He's in the bottom jungle looking for something, hunting for some prey.
And what's going to end up happening is they just get the outer turret. Really respectful from Best Friends Alliance, just going, okay, we need to run and right now, and they're able to get out of there. Nerf Snugglebutt says, I'm not comfortable basing anywhere, and actually walks the entire way back to the fountain, which maybe a little too respectful, but not the end of the world.
Now, Billy Willard buys a large rod instead of the Magi's. I believe they are the same price. So, I don't think we're going to get our dream happening this game. Even with the thing at 8 stacks, it looks like he's just going straight for a death cap. Very good item on Vlad, to be fair, but that Magi's...
Yeah,
maybe it's a dream long gone.
I would have liked to see it. One thing I want to point out is that Feathers and Fur actually just upgraded Dr. Drangus's mythic item, which I disagree with entirely. I think at this point you should just upgrade Nerf Snugglebutt's item and leave Dr. Drangus, honestly, for last.
Yeah, I think he's just upgrading who's close to him, but you do have to prioritize those Ornn upgrades for sure. Yeah. Upgrading that Kraken Slayer is going to be very, very big for your Tristana, so I wish he just saved it until he came into contact with Snugglebutt, maybe for the next dragon fight.
Yeah, I mean, there's the argument that, hey, maybe if I can extend Jarvan's warranty just a little bit longer.
Oh, no.
Oh, uh-oh.
Can't get close enough there. Doesn't get the empowered Q off, but you can see this Vladimir is scary, because if he did get that empowered Q off and then eat him, Bap's just dead.
Yeah. Especially since he is the level 16 Vladimir in this game. That level 3 ult, just an absolute menace of a man. And this game is very, very scary for not good enough, because not only is this Vladimir as scary as he is, you have 2 members of your team sitting on extremely large bounties, and if either one of those goes over to Vladimir, then you're in some serious trouble.
Yeah. Ephemeral Voids does have the Locket, a very good item against the Vladimir. We see people buying up the healing reduction, again, very smart against that Core Drinker and that Vladimir. So, correct itemization for sure. I'd love to see King Crimson, Bap, and Dream Release pick up a stopwatch whenever they get the opportunity to do so, because that's a crazy good tool against the Vladimir, so we'll just have to see how that ends up. And on that same note, I'd love to see Bap actually get a Wit's End maybe after his Infinity Edge, but we'll just have to see.
On the vein of stopwatch, you could even argue that in this game in particular, you could build a full Zhonya's on the Kai'Sa here. It's not something that people have been doing as much, but Kai'Sa is still one of those champions that can get away with picking up a Zhonya's to play a lot safer, and against a champion like Vladimir, you can negate the pop of his
Here's the hook coming into the Dr. Drangus, gets played, has the EQ up, just goes out, but here's the disintegration right into the Cataclysm, gets dropped, that's 1 down, Dr. Drangus is dead, here's the Ornhorn, lands onto 2, Vayne is here though, putting out so much damage, the Silverbolt's coming in, but gets knocked up, Alistar miss is the Q, here's so much damage coming in, Snugglebutt melts him down, but the shutdown goes to Ornn. Here's the Tristana, leaps in, realizes, ow, that Vayne hurts. Here he is doing so much damage. Bap killing everyone. Billy Willard can't get in. He has that empowered Q. Snugglebutt burns down to King Crimson's Liandry's. Billy Willard, the only survivor here for Best Friends Alliance, and that's going to be 3rd Drake. Ocean Soul point for not good enough.
We mentioned that Billy Willard is the player to watch in these fights, and he is so strong in this Vladimir. And in that fight, he only ults Sekiro. You absolutely cannot ult right away like that in those kind of team fights. You have to be landing your ult on at least one of the members of the
Oh, here he is. He's coming in. He has the Vayne stuck in the pit, but he's getting CC'd. He's in the pool. He's going to get condemned here. Gets condemned into the wall. So much damage coming in from Crimson. What are you doing, Billy Willard? You can't stand next to the wall like that against Vayne, man. That is so bad, and I think that's a shutdown. Yeah, that is a 350 shutdown to King Crimson. That is that's really bad for Billy Willard.
And you have to even look at it, like, imagine if that goes well.
Yeah.
You get, like, 1 kill. At that point, the shutdown hadn't kicked in yet, so you were getting 300 gold, and you're risking 650 going over to either the mid laner or the hyper carry top laner.
Yeah. It's a very, very greedy play. Honestly, maybe a bit of tilt showing after not winning that fight, or he's just a little bit desperate because he knows if they get this Ocean Soul, the game's going to be really, really hard.
Yeah.
hard to say what's going on in Billy Willard's head right now, but that was a little bit of a tough play to go for, but he opts for it, and it doesn't work out.
And I mean, I will note, we finally see the Wormfallen Sacrifice picking up onto Nerf Snugglebutt here. Uh-oh.
Here's the hook onto Alistar. He's really tanky, though. Pops the ult, but the true damage is going to shred through him from the Vel'Koz and the Vayne. Guess what, man? It doesn't matter if you take percent reduced damage. That doesn't work on true damage. So Vayne and Vel'Koz just kill him nice and easy, and they're going to start this Baron. They shred it between Kai'Sa, Vel'Koz, and Kai'Sa. There is no way you can contest this.
He's boss.
Yeah. Doesn't have TP.
Yeah, so just gonna get the Baron base. Billy's not gonna be able to get this turret most likely. He's probably gonna be forced out of lane, and he does have Rabadons in the bank, so counting his blessings there a little bit. But things were looking very good for Best Friends Alliance, and now all of a sudden, a lot rougher.
He's getting ganked in the bot lane here, Billy Willard is, but he gets the back off. Finishes that death cap. He's about as strong as he can hope to be for any of these fights. He's just hit his biggest spike he's going to get for a long time. The Ornhorn coming in mid lane. Lands onto Kai'Sa just alone. Vladimir wasn't quite there, but he lands the Hemo play, gets the kill on the Dream Release. Snugglebutt looking for those resets. The Onslaught of Shadows comes in and catches Nerf Snugglebutt, gets the kill. Vel'Koz here in the backline, untouched though. Look at him, watch him, he's doing so much damage. Vladimir is here in the middle of everyone, putting out his damage, gets the pool, gets the empowered Q off the hook, lands from Ephemeral Voids. That is a clutch hook. Gets the kill on Billy Willard. Bap chasing down with all that move speed. He's a Hunter of the Night. 3 auto attacks onto the Ornn's gonna kill him. Dead. Onto the Alistar. 2 autos. Ooh, the Locket comes in and saves his life. Why'd he still have that up?
Yeah, a little questionable why he still had that up, but I want to give a shout out to Henry Waternoose and Ephemeral Voids in that fight, playing it excellently. That fight was potentially disastrous, but a huge Hecarim out, fearing the entire enemy team, kind of clutches in there and gets an absolutely massive turnaround in that fight. And then, of course, the max range hook from Ephemeral Voids onto Billy Willard, getting them effectively a free kill.
Yeah. Billy Willard, he is the hope for this team, but these past 2 fights, he's made very, very critical mistakes. The first fight, he blows his ult only on Hecarim, doesn't get to use that flash in on the backline like you would like, and then TP's in and ends up dying for it. And this fight, he just goes a little bit too far without his team being able to really help him, and then gets caught by that Thresh hook. So he does have his ever-important flash for this next fight, and that can just result in a 3-man one-shot onto Vayne, Vel'Koz, and Kai'Sa, putting out so much damage if he can get a good engage here. So we'll have to see what he does with that. That's what's going to really decide things.
And you have to imagine that this next fight is happening in approximately 54 seconds when this event spawns.
Something like that.
Neither team willing to give this up, because Best Friends Alliance, they don't want the enemy team to have an Ocean Soul, and not good enough, well, they want an Ocean Soul. So you have to imagine this is probably going to be the fight that decides the game. Or at least, if Best Friends Alliance lose it, it's going to be game losing. But
yeah. I'm really interested in Bap's build here, though. He opts for the Kraken Slayer into Bloodthirster, so it's a bit of a middle ground between the defensive and the offensive here. Doesn't go for the Phantom Dancer second, just goes for the Bloodthirster, so he's missing out on the Infinity Edge. But yeah, here we are, the fight looking to open up soon. Nerf Snugglebutt's all the way back in the mid lane here. Alistar's up pretty far, gets the hook landed on him. He's gonna get shredded down by these people. If you remember, by this true damage, there are 5 people here in the fight. Billy is in. The Kai'Sa comes into the backline, ults in, the Cataclysm comes down. That's 1 down, putting out so much damage. Vayne is shredding through that Vladimir, and you are done for. Few auto attacks go down onto the Ornn. Got those Silver Bolts going. He's gonna die, no problem. Bap putting out so much damage. A little bit of an overstep by Dream Release here. He might die to that bomb. 1 auto comes in from the Jarvan. Triple kill for the Vayne. Bap killing everyone. Quadra kill. Is he gonna chase for the Jarvan, or is he gonna end the game?
You know he wants it.
He's ending the game. Oh!
Dream Release says give, and all the chat, he wants him to have it. He's cheering on his friend. Vladimir picks up the Magi's.
Little late, some would say.
He goes in.
Dr. Drangus is in, but Vayne has that Bloodthirster. He's just gonna get the autos, and that is a pentakill.
Hey, there it is, a pentakill for Bap.
Bap pops off the last game, 11-1 on the Vayne this game, and a pentakill. Oh, well, only
Absolutely.
playing crit champs, but pops off in both games and just
Yeah.
shows a true carry performance in both of them.
Yeah, absolutely dominant performance from Bop in these 2 games. You know he's got to be feeling good about that, but
Oh, yeah, he's riding
rest,
high.
rest of his team certainly not slacking. We saw some great engages from Henry Water News. We saw some pretty solid performing from uh, Dream Release, and I want to give a particular shout out to Ephemeral Voids on the
I agree.
Thresh being an absolute menace in both of those games. Just disengage legend playing those fights pretty much perfectly, except for the zoning E and hook. But aside from that, pretty solid play from him.
Yeah, I
And
agree. BAP is an easy MVP to pick, but Ephemeral Voids played great. Played Thresh both games and did his job immaculately both games. Beautiful to see.
yeah, absolutely. Whew.
And I mean, for Best Friends Alliance, that's a tough loss to take. The first game, not that hard. You get counterpicked in the top lane. Trinamir runs over the game. Okay.
Yeah, it
Sometimes it
happens.
happens. You just got to go next. But this game, it just felt like you were getting outdone on so many aspects. The game was really on Billy Willard's back to carry, and it doesn't come through. It's really hard for him if he doesn't kill BAP in these fights, and BAP just ends up cleaning them up, and that's what happened. So it's a tough game to lose if your best friend's alliance going down on their record, and that's going to move up. Not good enough on the standings. We'll have to see how the season goes forward. But well played to both teams. Congrats to not good enough for winning, but it's a quick 2-0, and that's all for us tonight. Thank you for watching.